So let me start today with this question. When you hear the name Phillip Rivers, what do you think of? See, for me, I think of the Chargers, easily. Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Turner, Darren Sproles, Antonio Gates. That was one of the premier teams in the mid-2000s for the NFL. Rivers led that team. And when they all left, Rivers stayed and built a great career in San Diego and then LA. You could argue today he's the best quarterback the franchise ever had, and he will be deemed a Chargers legend once he retires. He already is, in my opinion. Now, I bring this up because this past weekend, I was asked a legitimate question. It was in a group chat. Is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Fame quarterback? As we may know, it's a bit divisive. Everybody picked a side. And there were a lot of people, more than I thought would be, who supported Phillip Rivers not being in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people said he shouldn't be there. No credentials, nothing to his name. That shocked me. So that's why today I want to dedicate this open to the show to talk about why they're very wrong and why Phillip Rivers should be a Hall of Fame quarterback, without question. It's actually insane to me to even think that a lot of people believe he shouldn't be in. Rivers has great numbers, first of all. Oh, he never played in the postseason. He's just a stat pattern. Well, you know what? Not many quarterbacks could say they've thrown for 62,000 yards. Not many could say they have 400 touchdown passes. Not many could say they have a 95 passer rating. Those are elite numbers. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. When you compare Rivers to other quarterbacks in his league, other quarterbacks in different eras, he stacks up. 12th all-time in passer rating. 6th all-time in touchdown passes. One of 6 players in NFL history to have 400-plus touchdown passes, and you're going to tell me, nope, shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I know the number one criticism is postseason. The guy can't win, never won a Super Bowl, has had great teams, but can't get it done. I know. Believe me, I'm not happy about that either. And it does make you think. Who is this guy? What does he do? He pads stats, can't win? What does that tell you about him as a quarterback? I get the argument. But that said, you can't argue with the numbers. What he's done throughout his career has barely been matched by anyone. Barely. Only a few guys, you can count them all on one hand, who's done what Phillip Rivers has done. That's it. Very few. We're going to exclude somebody who has 400 touchdowns, who has 60,000, maybe 70,000 passing yards by the time he's retired because he didn't win a Super Bowl. Really? That's what we're doing now? I don't like that argument. We shouldn't be defining players by a great run. By that logic, put in Nick Foles then. Is Nick Foles a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers because he has a Super Bowl and Rivers doesn't? No. Who would you rather have on your team today or even in their primes? It's pretty obvious the answer. So why would we carry that logic to the Hall of Fame vote? Why would we say Nick Foles is better, he's won a Super Bowl, but then turn around and say I wouldn't rather have him over Phillip Rivers? That logic makes no sense. The whole argument is flawed. Later in the group chat, we also got into a discussion about Eli Manning, and someone mentioned, well, if you could pick either or, who would you pick? The answer is simple, both. There is no either or. They both deserve to be there. This is going to be a big question moving forward, especially with Manning retired and Rivers on his last legs, but there really isn't a difference between them. Yes, Eli has 2 Super Bowls, but his numbers are far worse. More interceptions, less touchdowns, less yards. But because he beat Tom Brady twice, he automatically gets in. I'm okay with that. But Philip Rivers, without question, better numbers, longer career, meant a lot to his franchise, just like Eli. Why should he not be considered? Why should he be thrown off the ballot immediately and not even be considered? There are worse quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame today. There are good quarterbacks who haven't gotten in. Philip Rivers is a good quarterback. Philip Rivers has done it for a long time. And just because he didn't win a Super Bowl, that doesn't mean all of a sudden he shouldn't even be near the Hall of Fame. Are we going to discount what he did for 16, 17 years and have it all boiled down to one Super Bowl or a playoff game? Does that sound right to you? Does it sound right to simply say he didn't win a Super Bowl, so he's done? I hate that argument. I know he had talented rosters. I know, I just mentioned Tomlinson and Turner and Sproles. Look, they didn't win. Is that an indictment on Philip Rivers? Could be, partially. Could be an indictment on the team. Could be an indictment on the whole franchise and their years of losing. But Philip Rivers, as an individual quarterback, when you look at his numbers, when you scour what he's done in football, when you think about how much he meant to the league and his team, there is no question, no doubt in my mind, that he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you look at these numbers. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that there's even a debate. You compare him to career-long records. 5th all-time in passes completed. Pass attempts, 7th. He's racked up a long career of just numbers. Great numbers. Those should be considered. We should be talking about that more. We shouldn't be degrading him just because he has no Super Bowl or bad playoff record. Look, it's very similar to Major League Baseball. There are guys with great postseason resumes who we would never think should be in the Hall of Fame. And the opposite is true, too. Great players, horrible postseason resumes, they're in. Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks never even played in a playoff game. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question. We can all agree. 500 home runs. Yet guys like Ben Zobrist, for example, will not get in and shouldn't. Great postseason resume, won't be in. Andy Pettitte, on the ballot every year for the Hall of Fame, has not gotten in. Great postseason resume, tied to PEDs, numbers not high enough. This is a phenomenon that happens in every sport. Why should we change the logic for Philip Rivers? Why should we say he shouldn't be there? Who are we to decide? If you look objectively, just look at the numbers. No doubt, no question, he's in. It's simple. All of those who say Rivers shouldn't be there and they tear him down, I don't know if you're looking at this objectively or if you have a personal vendetta. Seriously. Because the numbers don't lie whatsoever. Get your priorities straight. Philip Rivers is a darn good quarterback. Hey, if I were in the Bears situation, I'd rather have him than Mitch or Nick. And 10, 15 years ago when he debuted, the same thing could be said. He's always been consistent. He's always been good. And he's meant a lot to the San Diego Chargers and now Los Angeles Chargers. That should count for something. I've heard some people say, well, put up great numbers but didn't win anything, and his longevity shouldn't be taken into account. Yes, it should. We should be celebrating a player's ability to stay in the league for a long time and his ability to be the face of a franchise. Isn't that what a quarterback's supposed to do when they're drafted? Their job when they're drafted, yes, is to win a Super Bowl and bring the team up, but their job is also to be a good face of the franchise. There are quarterbacks that you think of today that you thought of before who were synonymous with a franchise. Troy Aikman, Dallas. Tom Brady, New England. Phillip Rivers, Chargers. All three of those quarterbacks are Hall of Fame worthy. One is in, two will be in my opinion. We can't be discounting that part of it either. We need to look at this objectively. You can't deny what Rivers has done in the NFL, and you can't deny his body of work and its quality over a long period of time. That makes him a Hall of Famer. In baseball, when you're evaluating who's on the ballot, the number one thing is body of work and longevity. It still is. And milestones and numbers. All of that matters and is taken into consideration. The same thing could be said for the NFL. Usually, they made a couple of mistakes here and there, but usually they get it right. If you have great numbers, if you've done it for a long time, if you mean a lot to a certain franchise or to the league, you're in. Simple. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Did Phillip Rivers mean anything to the league? Yes. Did he mean anything to a certain franchise? Definitely. Does he have the numbers? Yes. Hall of Famer. He checks my box. Why is there a debate about this? Why are people questioning it? People are so eager to let in some players who do have some questions, but they're worried about Phillip Rivers eventually getting to Canton. It's ridiculous. Just the wrong policy. Phillip Rivers is a great quarterback. Phillip Rivers deserves to be there. Those who say otherwise either have a personal vendetta, don't like his postseason resume, or fail to realize how great he truly was and how great his numbers are. That happens. I'll forgive you for that, but to sit here and say that there is no basis for Rivers being in the Hall of Fame, that couldn't be more wrong. Rivers has a very strong basis. Stronger than some of the guys already in the Hall of Fame. So we can't be sitting here and saying Rivers doesn't deserve to be there. Horrible quarterback. That just isn't true. Rivers is an NFL legend. Rivers is a Chargers hero. Not just legend, hero. And if he's not in the Hall of Fame, if this debate rises up, if he's not let in on the first ballot, that's a huge issue to me. His numbers warrant it. What he meant to the NFL and the Chargers warrant it. Disregard the postseason resume. In every major sport, there are players who've done nothing in the postseason, who haven't even appeared in the postseason, and they've gotten into their respective Hall of Fames. Rightfully so, too. They had the numbers to warrant it. Phillip Rivers is in that category. And there's no if, and, or but about it. He deserves to be in Canton. And I really hope the writers get this one right. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Christina Carl comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, do you want to make some money this weekend? What if I told you I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. You have to be 21 plus. You have to be an Illinois resident, and you can bet $250 free on any game you want for this upcoming weekend. Bears, Vikings, lots of playoff implications. College football, college basketball, it's all there. Bet some money and win the money that you deserve. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.